That's the key thing I always state. You don't try and sell them an idea. You try and explain what's cool about it. And if there's someone who is drawn to that, what you consider cool, then they'll come along and they are exactly the right person who should be involved in esports and should watch it and will be a valuable customer who can grow into a lifelong fan. So rather than tell them, oh, it's really huge and it's as big in terms of numbers like this, because that's a very kind of gauche way to try and tell someone to get involved with something. You're just basically saying, oh, do you just bandwagon shit? Well, this is the new bandwagon, get on board. Instead, how about telling them how exciting it is? How it has the complexity and the structure of real sports, where it has regular games and these teams battle each other and there's a legacy and a history behind it more. It's not just one-off tournaments. That's something that people do a very bad job in esports of conveying. The reason why a lot of mainstream journalists still write stories as if, oh, the World Championship's going on in League, and if you were really good, maybe next year you could be playing. Well, of course, we know you can't, because there's a structure to it, and the teams that are playing there qualify from regions and stuff. It's a real sport to us in that sense, so it has the structure of a sport. It's not, as they will often write up, as though it's like a one-off tournament and it's like the movie The Wizard, and everyone who's just good at League of Legends turns up in Seoul to play in the World Championship and whoever wins is the best. That's not how it is. But that's one of the areas where you could do good work in terms of perception of esports. Telling them how exciting it is, the structure of it, how complex it is, how much skill is involved in it. These are things where you're not selling them any bullshit. You're actually trying to be more descriptive and articulate and realistic about the situation. But these are very good qualities. These are things of value that the game has that other people might see and go, hey, actually, I'm kind of interested in that. That's sparked my curiosity. I want to know more about that. Right, this has 62 points, and it was in the thread where Steele was dropping dime on Shazam being a piece of shit. A lot of those stories, by the way, can corroborate. So, 62 points, it says, I feel really sad to see Esquires attached to Shazam and defending him. Esquires used to be a nice guy, but I'm worried that he is associating with a bad crowd now. I remember when Esquires associated with drug/stoners like Nothing, but that is okay because Nothing is a friendly personality. But Shazam always seems always toxic personality. Be careful, Sean Gares. Right, first of all, this first part, where it's about how Sean Gares associates with a bad crowd now. I don't really know about that. He just plays in a team with someone who's done some dodgy shit. It's not like Shazam's like the bad kid in school. Like, you know, come on, Sean, sniff this glue, man. What are you? Fucking half a pussy or some shit? Get this shit down here. And then you know what? After this, we're going to go and throw rocks at old fucking Mr. Simpson's house. Break that motherfucker's windows. You know, he's not doing any of that shit, is he? He's just playing in a team with him and did some stuff years ago. Then when he puts that part about, I remember when Sean Gares associated with drug/stoners like Nothing. Right, first of all, the fact that someone smokes weed, Nothing in this particular case, years in the past, don't think really means that he's hanging around with a bad crowd or associating with bad people. And what's funny is, somehow, doing drugs is implied to be a bad thing, but then the fact that Nothing's a friendly personality makes it all okay. So, you know. Apparently you can do anything that you consider like immoral or bad, but as long as you're a cool guy, yeah, it's fine then. Just hang around with you. And then Shazam always seems like toxic personality. Be careful, Sean Gares. I'm sure he'll take your words to heart. They seem very insightful. So you sure seem to know a lot about these people and have a very strict ethical code and moral compass, which in many ways we could all learn by the light of your insight. Oh wait, you're just a random shitter who got 62 points smart on Reddit. Now, I don't know how much you know about consistency, okay? But going from making minimum semis to having last place and winning 0 maps, that's actually, yeah, over 6 tournaments. It's not insane inconsistency, but tournament to tournament, that's pretty inconsistent actually. That's showing a really bad sign of inconsistency, and that's such a terrible result that you would look at that result separate to the other ones. Because yes, since you were always making the final, right, something's working here. We can trust that next time we have a chance to make the final again. Oh, still got semis, so some things are still working. Last place, oh, maybe things have gone drastically wrong. Maybe something's broken in the team. Maybe we have to completely fix it or go another direction because it's not possible necessarily to rewind the clock and go back to making the finals again. Maybe that's the case. Hence, they're looking to find consistency again. It didn't say we will find consistency. Your comment would be banging. The 883 points wouldn't just be cretin currency if he'd said, we'll find consistency. What do you mean? 5 out of 6 tournaments, you had some consistency. No, we'll find consistency again because they've just failed to have the consistency they had. They lost their consistency. They had the worst possible result you could actually have at the most important tournament of the entire year for them. And therefore, they want to get back their consistency. They want to find consistency again. Why do people actually comment on things that they don't. It's one thing if you just disagree. You have a different philosophy, you take things a different way, but he's actually read English words and not understood even what the meaning of the words is. And he hasn't even stopped to think, oh, these people talking to me, maybe they have some level of human intelligence. So what did they actually perhaps mean by this? He's just gone, haha, if I ignore one of the words, which I will now quote, what you said is stupid, idiot. It's like, yeah, but you ignored one of the words, and that's not what I meant. Yeah, but by doing that, I make you the idiot. No, you're the idiot. You ignored the words. You didn't understand what he was saying. Another reason why people despise TSM fans, beyond their obnoxious behaviour, which is the real reason, is this their ridiculously inconsistent logic. It's a mixture of inconsistent logic which bleeds in hypocrisy, which the operating mechanism for at all times involves moving the goalposts. You just change the definitions or what your criteria is so that it always favours TSM. They have no philosophy or reason guiding the direction of where they go, except I'm going towards TSM and away everything that's not TSM. In fact, they make the world into this black and white dichotomy, like fucking Manichaeanism or something, where it's like, there's only TSM and anti-TSM. That's like the universe to them. They don't understand that where you can have TSM, you can have Cloud9, and you can have and these are good teams, and you can have some medium teams. You know, the world, how normal people see it. So, for example, when Hornzer has splits where he has the best top lane stats as an individual player and collectively, those then mean he's the best top laner. But if Jensen tops the stats and all the relevant stats and most of the stats, suddenly that means nothing. Stats mean nothing. And you can, in fact, even spin it as a negative if you're a TSM fan. Say, look, this just shows how, because he has all the best stats but his team hasn't won, that just shows that he's selfish. And you know what? It even shows how he lacks the character. As a human, he actually is a failure as well because of this success. Like, he lacks the character to play unselfishly and play for his team. And hence, when his team loses, it's his fault. And if they don't win as many titles as TSM, it's all on him, actually. It's not that he's an extremely good player who at times has played for not that good teams but elevated them, and individually, in a very specific way, might be a better player, even if Bjergsen as a whole team player could have some elements which are better. No, it can't be anything reasonable like that. No. You have to find a way to take the same principle that you use to elevate a player and now use it to destroy a player, even though his are also positive in the same regard. It's always the same pattern, the same playbook, the same blueprint. You either, as a TSM fan, when they join TSM, you either rewrite your whole opinion on them, or they magically become improved or matured as human beings, not just even as like players, as human beings. They undergo this massive, dark night of the soul and development as humans, and they mature entirely within the span of a split. We're talking 2 to 3 months of just having a TSM jersey on your body and playing League of Legends the majority of the day. That evolves you as a human being, like going to some fucking 2-week retreat in South America and taking ayahuasca every day and working with a shaman to unleash the dark side of the fucking shadow of your spirit and battle through to become a spiritual warrior. That's what they think putting on a TSM jersey and joining the team does. And why? Because of stuff like, well, Reggie won't stand for that. So apparently they think Reggie's just in there like that woman out of fucking Billions, just working with them psychologically. So what's going on there? Let me in. Let me see. Why do you act that way, man? Have you ever thought maybe there's something inside you that if you let it out, people won't judge you? Like, they think that's going on. It's not. That happens like once or twice, every split maximum.
Alfari was just basically straight up honest. He just basically told him, like, yeah, I don't fuck with this. So that's who Alfari is. Like, this is a guy who isn't trying to present an image and sell it and make it and be world famous and just make millions of dollars just for being a personality and be a big name. No, he wants to play the game and be the best and win. He ain't going to kiss your ass and tell you that you're competent if you aren't. You know why? Because his whole shit, his whole personality and his career is founded on his competence at the game League of Legends. That's how he got to this point. It wasn't from having a sparkling personality and streaming and making jokes. It was by being so fucking good at top lane and laning in top lane and being a monstrous top lane solo laner that's why he got hired for big bucks to be on Team Liquid and flown to another fucking country. Hence why, by the way, look at his career. Look who he's chosen to play with. He wanted to play with people like Mickey X. He wanted to play with people like Nukedoc, Upset. Guys who were very good at certain things, competent. Nukedoc side laning, champion pool, Upset's team fighting, lane dominance, This guy is from Wales in the United Kingdom. Let me just explain something to you. It's in his DNA. His people would have been farmers or coal miners down a fucking mine getting black lung. He would have been shoveling peat out of a fucking bog on the border to England or something. He isn't going to dress up what's going on or act all fake and put on airs or be euphemistic about what he's doing. This guy is a true top laner. The top lane is a macho role for real men, assuming you're a man and you play the game. I don't know what it's like for women. These top laners, a top laner is a Ronin who has no master. He takes care of his. He doesn't always need the help of others. He can fight 1v2 if needs be to protect his land. What he does is he can form alliances and he can help in your fight if it's his fight as well, and it makes sense. But you respect the top laner. He plays the longest solo lane in the game. He gets ganked all the time. He gets put in the unfavourable matchups. He plays the weak side when necessary, and he still goes even in CS. He still wins the CS. He still comes out later in the game capable of doing something because he's a true fucking top laner. He impulsively benched him as punishment. Then it was extended to weeks more. You know, beatings will continue until morale improves. Alfari's tweet didn't help because it implied he's not backing down. He's going to fight back a little bit even publicly. Because you know what? Why should he back down? Oh, so he can... Yeah, so you're going to go, man, my job. You do like a shit job. You have no choice. You aren't hired for your job because you're the best in the world at it. You just do your job because they wanted someone to work there and you applied and they picked you as one of many people and they can replace you tomorrow. You are a cog in a machine. Is Alfari? No. He's a player who was headhunted. He's one of the most desired top laners in the whole of fucking Western League of Legends. He could have played for all sorts of teams in this game. And then you know what? If you do bow to your boss... and power, go, I'll do it just for the sake of... Yeah, then you pay the Faustian bargain for that price. It ain't just the salary that you get. It's what you give up from your soul, mate. You can give in. You can sell out if you want to. Don't ever tell another man to sell out, though. He is his own man, and he will make his own fucking choices. In 2018, get ready for the way she phrased how disingenuous this is. In 2018, I called someone out for homophobic language and said, let's be better, right? That implies I used homophobic language. Not that I said there was an etymology that has changed over time and it doesn't only mean that. No. She called me out for homophobic language now. This is in 2022 she's saying this after Saudis have bought ESL and Faceit and DreamHack. This is who this fucking person is. And all she does is double down and remain the virtuous one in the position of moral superiority, calling out other fucking people and deciding who can work and can't. I just have to do a few social media posts because Predator sponsor IEM. No, you don't. You could go to them and say, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to break this contract on moral grounds. I won't in any context work with companies, even tangentially supporting them or in any way promoting them, that work with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia because I believe their government are murderers and would murder my gay friends. And I have learned to be better and learned from the LEC staff. And basically I know I must do better and that we all must. And people like Thorin don't even call out their morals and what they do. So I'm doing that right now. No, she didn't do that. She thought she had to do it because you know why? I'm guessing because she had a baby. She wanted the money. Weird how that fucking works, isn't it? It's like there's a trolley experiment, except instead of like one guy and then 5 people tied to a track, and the track's going to go over the fucking 5, but if you pull the lever, it kills the 1. In this analogy, right, it's like there's a fucking bag of money currently stopping the people about to be killed. She goes, picks up the bag of money to allow the train to go through and kill, in this case, all of her gay friends because she has a baby. I guess in that case, was the baby on the other track by her logic? It would starve, I'm assuming, is the analogy. What a fucked up scenario. She's even trying to argue her way out at this point in time, by the way, guys. I'm sick of people stealing each other's points. As in, you're in the green room. It's not parallel thinking. You make a point in the green room, or you even say before, I want to hit this point. But the other person before you on the desk in the lineup gets to them, and they just steal your talking point. And they even did it because they didn't have one. And you said a great point in the green room. And they go, oh yeah, that is great. And then they just use that as their point. There are some legendary, enormous names have done this, by the way. It's why some of them I don't fuck with. It sort of might give you a clue as to why maybe I go harder against people you think are awesome, but I don't think are awesome. This means, by the way, you end up doing what I did, which is you're just in the green room. You don't ever give up the point. You don't ever tell anyone the point you're going to make. And you don't mention even vaguely what you're going to hit. You just go, oh yeah, we'll see when we get on there. Now, the reason why that's not good is because a lot of the newer hosts, and especially in games like League of Legends, they want you to actually tell them what your point's going to be or what to set up for them. And that requires trust and a sense of teamwork. But if you can do it, it's going to make the floor very, very cohesive. There are some guys that are so huge doing that. There was one guy in League of Legends who's just notorious for it. I've been pleasantly surprised during the time I've had my Patreon and my Patreon community, the Skrilluminati, by both
the financial support they've provided, and the moral support. And so this video was kindly supported and made possible by Starlust, Theo Buenzli, Ahmed Hadjou, Matt Pugnatio Rajcula, Toucan, Jensen Goh, Animosity, Tobias Bernasconi, Bot Pounder 420, Yurka 86, Tosh, and as always, you know it, a special thanks goes out to my main man, Jerky's Minion. Would you like to ask a question in one of those AMAs where I tend to go pretty in depth? Sometimes they even spin out into their own videos. Do you want teasers to find out who the upcoming guests are for the myriad of interviews that I do across esports? Maybe you want to suggest a topic or a guest? We have a channel on my Discord where you can do that if you're at the right tier. And of course, you could potentially take part in one of those lengthy esports discussions with me about whatever is on your mind in the scene. Well, if any of those perks sound tantalizing, put your money where your mouth is and join the Skrilluminati today via the Patreon link in the description box below.